Hi, good afternoon. We're just going to wait for a few more minutes. We're just going to wait for some more people to come and join. We will start in about 2 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at our How to Launch the Windows Autopilot with CDW webinar. My name is Christine Yip, PDA at CDW Canada, and your moderator for today's webinar. We have a Q&A box on the lower right corner where you are able to type in your questions and we will answer them after our presentation. Also, I would like to mention that this webinar is being recorded. At the end of our webinar, we will have a lucky draw of five $100 gift cards. And I would like to introduce you to Ricky Fraser, our solution specialist for Microsoft OEM, Byron Knight, our solution specialist for HP, and Nick Defina, our solution specialist for Lenovo. To kick it off, I would like to pass the floor to Ricky. Ricky?
Thank you, Christine. And hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. I know you guys have busy schedules. The holiday season's coming. So we'll try to run this as quick as possible and answer any questions you guys have. As Christine mentioned, I am the Autopilot solution specialist for OEM devices. I deal with the enrollment process and also the end-to-end process as far as ordering. If you have questions, aside from asking your account managers, you can ask me directly as well. I'll provide my contact details later. And also, just so you guys know, CDW is actually the first reseller to actually enable Autopilot through Microsoft and Disty. So because of that, we established a great relationship to have the correct resources and resources and tools and abilities to manage your out of box experience properly, right? So I'm just going to go over a couple things today. We have some the first thing we're going to mention is what Autopilot is. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, but I'll still go over it just to do that. Also, why is Autopilot essential? And what are the Autopilot options and pricing, etc. What are the device specifications and licensing requirements? And then at the end, the order process. So what is Autopilot? Autopilot basically allows you to deploy and configure your Windows 10 and 11 device over the internet with no interaction as a administrator or IT. So pretty much, we're pretty much simplifying, taking a lot of the workload as far as deploying the devices and enrollment of the devices, right? So we're providing simplicity for your MDM experience in order to provide devices that could be shipped directly to your end user, your clients or end users, right directly to them at their remote locations, um, straight from us. So no having to go back and forth where we have to ship the devices to you directly. You have to image the devices and then send to your end user. We can handle that work for you. So pretty much, and also enabling all the applications from Microsoft and your settings, policies, profiles rolled into one, right? So As I do have a video to show that kind of goes over the basis of Autopilot. Just give me a second here.
IT pros have a lot to do, like preparing and deploying devices, and there's seldom enough time to focus on the bigger picture. Even with all that effort, employees are often unhappy with the device setup experience. It takes too long. They just want their new device to work right out of the box. And supporting remote users? That's not easy. More than just frustrating, all this lost IT and end user productivity can be expensive. But Windows Autopilot can make IT more productive and get users back to work quickly by providing a low-touch, streamlined experience. It's flexible, so you can choose a deployment scenario that suits your business. For example, a user-driven Autopilot deployment is, well, driven by employees, wherever they are. All you need is Microsoft Intune, Windows 10 Pro devices, and Azure AD to get started. Companies that haven't fully transitioned to the cloud can use a hybrid Azure AD Join Autopilot deployment. They need a hybrid Azure AD environment, Microsoft Intune, the Intune connector installed, and the ability for Autopilot devices to connect to a domain controller. And a white glove deployment provides a better experience for employees because it allows IT and your OEM or reseller partners to pre-provision Autopilot devices before users get them. No waiting for devices to download apps, updates, or settings. Once configured, IT can ship devices directly from a partner or even repurpose existing devices. And they're ready to go as soon as employees get them. So they can continue to do great things for their businesses, wherever they are. They unbox their shiny new devices, log in, and take off. Users connect to the internet and answer a couple of quick questions. Then, Autopilot automatically installs apps, settings, and policies, if necessary. And the device is secure and ready to go in just minutes. Windows Autopilot enables IT to deliver ready-to-go devices directly to users, frees up IT hours, and improves employee satisfaction. Get started today with Windows Autopilot.
Okay, so yeah, pretty much the Autopilot is unbox, login, and take off, as what it mentioned in the video. We're pretty much trying to simplify the end user's experience and improve the satisfaction of being able to receive a device that is already preloaded with the application settings and policies that are required, and then just automatically provision once they sign in. So that's the experience we want to improve for your environment, your deployment environment. As far as making it simple, simplifying your device management from an MDM standpoint, and also securing more secured protection right out of the box, right? We do have I have a video that I'm going to show shortly afterwards, later into the slides, which will go over the end user experience once they receive the device with Autopilot. So you'll be able to see firsthand on that. And yeah, this is just a quote from Microsoft. They're saying, everything gets loaded on those machines automatically once the user logs in. So why is Autopilot essential, right? Simplified deployment, pretty much, providing zero-touch endpoints, touch points, and set up from any location, right? So pretty much, if end user could be wherever, as long as they have an internet connection, they'll be able to connect and then be able to provision the device. And then also, repurposing the existing devices that you have utilizing the MDM. So whether it's Intune or a current MDM that you have. The experience so far, the studies show that it typically takes 25 minutes for configuration and provisioning, but with Autopilot, it could be reduced down to seconds. So really simplifying the experience for for the end users. As far as remote capabilities, you can easily monitor and manage and free up a lot of more time that you have to deal with more pressing issues, less ticket orders, less back to back, back and forth with end users that don't have the right settings and etc. You can just do everything. Everything's done remotely. You can reset devices, and then also it's optimized with Microsoft M365. As far as security, you can remotely lock devices, which is great. Has that capability. You can secure and control devices and remain fully compliant with the licensing with updates, as well as personalizing the encryption settings like BitLocker, etc. Um, they with Windows 10 and 11 devices, we noticed a 33% drop in security events, which is just the actual extra layer of security that's needed in these times, especially with ransomware and a lot of things going on. So having the right operating system with the proper security settings, as well as having settings on a BIOS level and through this definitely helps with that. Employee satisfaction, as I mentioned, you're just freeing up a lot of time. You're freeing up time even for the employee, right? Having to even, if they're dealing with issues, also if they, running into situations where they don't have the right applications that were installed, having to open a ticket, send it back, or even go back to the office to have it set up if they're remote. Just tedious issues that you guys know and encounter on a daily basis. We want to simplify that experience for not only yourself but for those end users. Device setup in minutes, quick access to the personalized apps that they would have, and then obviously cutting edge technology with devices and operating system. These survey shows that they reduce the time up to by like 90%, which is pretty significant. These are the three pillars for Autopilot. Difference maker deploys devices that are ready to go, frees up your IT department, of course, to tackle more pressing issues, and then also improve employee satisfaction, which we've said countless times. What are the Autopilot options, right? So you guys are familiar with data harvest, where you run the PowerShell script in order to upload and then enroll that device. As you know, that's quite a manual task and can be quite cumbersome. We have the ability to actually harvest the CSV file on your behalf. In that situation, no partner relationships required. We just would, when the device is ordered, with the option of data harvest, we would harvest the data file and send it directly to your IT administrator that would handle the upload. And once that's uploaded, we would then send the device out, configure and send the device out to the end user, or we could even send it directly to your location. With whatever else that's required, whether it's accessories, peripherals, etc. The data harvest and upload is a second option. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention that's a $7 charge per device for the data harvest, with exception of HP, whereas there's no charge. The data harvest and upload, we would harvest the data file in a CSV format, and we would upload on your behalf. With this situation, we would require an established reseller relationship with you. So we would send a link to the global administrator of your company, whether it's in-house or if it's within the managed service provider that you use. We would send that link and it would have to be accepted. Once that's accepted, it would allow us to enroll the devices. Just so you know, when it comes to the actual information, once we accept once that global administrator link is accepts that link, we don't have access to the details of the tenant information or user information. All we see is the devices, we see the tenant ID, and we see the primary domain, etc. So we don't see any specifics. So any divisions that are a little bit kind of worrisome about security and like us having transparency with everything, we don't have that. So just it's non-delegated access. And then the white gloves provisioning service, or sorry, that's a $14 charge with exception to HP as well. But for the white glove, it's $30 per device. For that we upload on your behalf obviously the data harvest, but we upload the CSV file. We remove any bloatware that's on the system, and make sure that the version of Windows 10 or 11 is up to date. And then the pre-provisioning of applications, configuration, setting, and policies can be done as well with the white glove service, which is $30 per device, per new device, right? What are the device specifications and licensing requirements? Just a supported version of Windows 10, Windows 11, Azure Active Directory P1 or P2, and also, sorry, Microsoft Intune. TPM has to be enabled and be in a good state. Most devices now currently do have that, but just word of advice on that. Windows 11. You guys are familiar with Windows 11 and the talks of the rollout. We don't. It's not. What's happening right now is the devices are being rolled out on certain schedules. So it could be like a few a week. Could be more than that. Like as they roll out, you'll receive an update based on specific devices you have, or the managed service provider will get those updates and handle that for you. As you know, there's a lot of great features, with the snap screens, snap windows where you can have customized settings, have multiple screens up so you can multitask, etc. And, just have a better user interface for yourself. Also, the desktop has, you can have customizable multiple desktops for presentation desktops. You can also have like your own personal desktop, and I have all the apps and settings that are rolled into that. So great, much better user experience. I'll show you a quick little video. It's like 30 seconds if it can launch here. Okay, so these are the system requirements for Windows 11. I'm not going to go over everything. I know some of you might be familiar with it, probably looked into it already. Just one thing's to key note here is the ramifications and for the RAM and storage requirements. Also, the TPN has to be Trusted Platform Module version 2.0, discrete or firmware. There has been a firmware update for some of the devices. So as they roll out, they'll be ready to go pretty much. So just look out for that. The order process, there's the Autopilot flowchart, which kind of just describes the experience as far as, if you were to utilize the harvest yourself on existing devices and utilize the device IDs that are provided from vendor. This is like this flowchart is based on if we're leveraging the hardware vendor in order to config and provision the Autopilot experience for you and ship the device directly to your employee. So in this instance, we're utilizing obviously your CSP and the deployment services of Autopilot to provision. So this is kind of like an overview of that. As far as the order process, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Customer will accept the partner relationship. The global administrator can only accept, just so you know. This would allow us to enroll the devices. Once the devices are enrolled, we basically will then we would upload it, and then we would enroll it so that you could see it in Intune or your MDM. And then the customer can then, you can then assign the profiles and applications policies within your MDM or Intune. And then from there, once we do receive that, we would then config and ship the devices, removal of bloatware and pre-provisioning of devices in the white glove experience. This is the step-by-step order process. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I can send this to you when we have conversations. If you reach out to me, I can provide you with the full guide. As well, I share this to the AM, so they will share this information with you as far as what's required on your standpoint. This is the pretty much for Lenovo top seller and smart buy, the quick process guide of just the owners, or sorry, the process and like who's involved depending on the scenarios. Some of the scenarios are different depending on the vendor. So they're later on in this segment, Nick and Byron will go over Lenovo and also HP experience with Autopilot. And then the end user experience, I want to quickly show this. This just shows the what your the end users will actually go through as far as like the experience with Autopilot once they receive the device. They would see the pop-up here when they turn it on. It'll ask to enter the password, which would be provided to them. Once that's entered, it's a little bit slow here, but once it's entered here, it will then go through the process. So it's pretty much loading there. This is exactly like what their experience would be. So there's launching the Windows Hello, asking for PIN setup. So in this case, it would, from this point, it would ask for a verification code through a mobile app, or you could use a different verification option. I believe there's email, SMS. And then once they receive that, they would enter that verification code in, just for that extra protection. And then you would have to set in the new PIN that's required. All set. So that's pretty much it for that. And then from there, we'll just kind of load in and then start provisioning and doing the updates. That's it in a nutshell for that. Just one thing I wanted to note here quickly is that if you're choosing to run with the white glove experience, we just to mention actually before I forget, at the end, we'll be giving participants, each one participant per company, 3 licenses of white glove service, which you could layer into your new devices actually. So just so you can have that experience and see how it works and the benefits of white glove going to the maximum, the premium level, right? Just one thing to note is that you have to allow the white glove out of box experience by clicking yes here, and then that's it. That's what all we would need from our side. These are some of the pros and cons, or sorry, like pros and cons between the IT department and through the experience through CDW as far as Autopilot. Just the device issues, having to ship it directly to you guys so you can image it, where we can pre-provision and send it out directly to your end users. Having to run that PowerShell script on every physical device in order to enroll, that's a headache. We can take that burden off of you and provide you either with the CSV file or upload it, enroll on your behalf, right? Also, just the time it takes, as we mentioned, 25 minutes for configuration, sometimes longer depending on the situation. With Autopilot, we could just config, and it's reduced to just seconds with their out of box experience, right? Things that we would need from you to get started: we would need you to accept provide the primary domain, provide us with the group tag name. If not provided, we use the PO from that's given, and then also the global administrator would have to accept the reseller relationship link, which we would provide if that's related to if you want us to enroll on your behalf, right? If we're just providing the CSV file, we could just send you the CSV file once the order is placed. There's my contact details. Obviously, you could leverage your AM for any additional questions, but we're gonna have a bit of time afterwards to go over any questions and such. But I'm available like for calls if you guys want to talk more in detail about this and go through what's better for you and your experience, and we can guide you on that journey. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll move it on to Brian now.
Awesome. Happy to start. Let me just share my screen real quick. Hope everybody can see everything. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Byron Knight, the HPI Solution Specialist here at CDW Canada. So what that means is I am CDW badged. I am tasked with being the subject matter expert for all things HP, essentially. Today, I will be talking to you about just a few things. Firstly, a bit of a promo for you, as well as some of the offerings that HP has. Some of them you might be familiar with, some you might not. I'll give you a bit of detail about that. Then we'll jump into a bit of information about what it looks like, what the Windows Autopilot enrollment process with HP looks like. There are a little few nuances, and then finally we'll talk about vPro, which is quite interesting. If you haven't heard too much about it, this is a great time to chat about it. I know some of you may be very familiar with Intel vPro, but without further ado, we'll get started. So first things first, insurance. We all understand we're a little annoyed with it here and there, and the reason that is you pay into it constantly, and then sometimes you don't need it. You know, where's that money go? What do you do with it, right? So what HP has pretty much implemented here is the opportunity for all the money that you've spent on care packs, seeing as HP's hardware tends to be quite reliable, you have that opportunity to have it rebated to you from this moment on right through to April 30th. All we ask is pretty simple. We're just looking for a quick report, right? Within the 30 days of expiry, so long as you can fill out the form, which we can provide to you with the information on the hardware that you do have that has not been essentially claimed. What we'll do is in the next 6 months after that request has been made, send you a check rebating the total amount of the care pack information. If you're looking for more of this, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We have our contact information. Please, if anything, ask your account manager, of course. You can either reach out to me directly or reach out to our account managers for more information on that. But yeah, let's get into some of the hardware here. I know some of you have been very familiar with a bit of this, but we're going to start with the mobile side of things first. So just speaking to the mobile space, as you know, HP has a wide offering there, starting from things in the entry level with our 400 series, right up to what we would call our flagship at this point, the HP Dragonfly. Personally, I would say our 800 series is our flagship because it's the hardest working machine and probably the most popular. But our Dragonfly is when speaking to the innovations that HP offers, always being the first or the world's best or the world's most powerful or the world's lightest. In this case, the HP Dragonfly would be the world's lightest compact business convertible. So in addition to being in that clamshell space, you can actually convert it into a tablet mode. It comes with all the typical security that you expect. Security is first and front of mind for pretty much all of our hardware with HP, desktop and notebook. You might be very familiar with that HP ShareView technology, often imitated, never duplicated, giving you that ability to hit the F2 function and narrow the viewing angle of your devices. You'll find it throughout the entire mobile space there. But yeah, let's get into some of the my personal favorite, the mobile workstations and workstations in general. So here you can see same thing applies. You know, right into the entry level, we have that Firefly, full up to our full performance power options here. So with the Firefly, same thing applies. We are allowed to brag and say it's one of the thinnest and lightest mobile workstations, fully compatible. We like to say this is good for any kind of administrator that needs a little more. You know, they play around with Excel a little more. There's a few more macros that they kind of deal with from time to time. This is perfect. Matter of fact, we do have some software called TechPulse that would give you the ability to remote into these devices and have the opportunity to see what the full load is. If you have any, if you want any more details on that, happy to kind of talk to you about it. But this is generally our offering. We do have something in the RTX space as well for any kind of physical simulations, as well as something for a compromise where we have that studio create space for VR, video graphics, and the like. But I don't want to beat you guys up with speeds and feeds. Just keep it very light and give you a bit of an overview. So moving from there, let's talk about our desktop space. As you know, everybody knows this is a new work from home era. So if you are able to either get a mobile device, we do have some great offerings in the desktop space for very much the same kind of use. Again, entry level, we do have that 400, moving right up to our 800 series that has a number of different features. Matter of fact, we do have a all-in-one offering in that space with built-in authentication features like the IR cameras for Windows Hello and the 9. So you have a full plethora of features that you can kind of take care of. And matter of fact, now that things are starting, I guess to say normalize, without well, fingers crossed, let's say, we do offer a elite slice for meetings. What that is essentially a more bare bones device used specifically to work with conference devices. So this will play well with any kind of third-party conference devices. So as you have employees coming back into the office, and still a good chunk of employees out in the work from home space, this will give them an opportunity to completely collaborate. There's many offering features, satellite microphones, satellite speakers, and this will work with any kind of video conferencing third-party offering that may be playing well with that as well. But let's get into the workstation space, one of my personal favorites. Some of you may know about our desk workspace offering. We love to brag about our Z8. I'm going to give a little bit of nuance. We do have the world's most powerful workstation, but I'm going to say Intel-based workstations until we start to see a little more play in the AMD space. But as you know, with Intel, you do have a bit more of that stability around that. Looking at the entry level, this is a great option as well. Having that small footprint, but still getting the power. This is great for, let's say, finance customers that need to have multiple displays, but they still want a small footprint on that desk space. Because I mean, let's be honest, in this new work from home space, a lot of us are sharing space, myself included. So as small as the footprint can be, that's where we want to take advantage of. And now, don't forget, we also have remote boost for all of these devices. And what remote boost is essentially the ability to collaborate on these large workstation-based solutions. So if let's say you got a team trying to build a design, create a design, having the ability to have the entire team work on one project to get it done comes baked into these, and that's free of charge with any kind of Z workstation device that you decide to choose from here. But with that, let's get into a bit about Windows Autopilot. Who and how? What's the process look like with HP? Surprisingly enough, it's fairly straightforward. There is a bit of manual work, but primarily this is done in the back end with myself and your account manager. So essentially what you're looking at here is just the workflow that's involved in the back end. So first things first, you're either through an order or through any information that you're able to share, what we do is we acquire the serial number information from the devices. So either distribution hands it down to our team, or if you have any existing devices, which you're fully capable of doing, provide that information. And what we do is we compile that and share it with our HP team, autopilot.request@hp.com. Now, there's a nuance here that I would like to kind of speak to. So there are two flavors that HP is able to offer, and one, unfortunately, that we can't at this point. What that is data harvest. Obviously, we can provide the data harvest and the upload. The only thing that we cannot provide at this present moment is the white glove service. But keep in mind that being a con, the pro is it's completely free of charge. So you can use it till you're blue in the face, save a couple of bucks, and take care of your end user team. So what you're looking at here is basically just some of the information that's required. As you know, we do need either the HP order number, the Azure Active Directory domain information as well. And once we have that, we know exactly who we can send these CSV files to so you can have them uploaded. But on the other side, If you'd like to have our team upload it for you, we're able to do that as well. For any customers who are not or unfamiliar with the experience or haven't registered to be for CDW or HP to be that CSP, there's a little more information that's required, as we saw here. So what we would need is a customer as your domain, tenant ID, email address, just so that we know who the global administrator is, so that once we do have the information needed, HP will send a consent email. It's just essential paragraph with a link asking for consent. Once consent is given, the CS files are created and uploaded on your behalf. Super simple. This is what you're seeing here is just an example of what it looks like, and some of the syntax is required in order to share it. So we do have to we require that these serial numbers be in an Excel document in order to fire them off to our team, and the request to be sent in a certain syntax in the email. Again, typically it would be our AMs that take care of this, but depending on the comfort level or where you want to be in the processes is something that can be provided as well through your team. So that's just something to keep mind of as well. But that's enough for Windows Autopilot. Let's get into a bit of Microsoft vPro. So what is Intel? Oh, did I say Microsoft? My apologies. Intel vPro. Intel vPro essentially is a PC platform that's built to enhance business, essentially. So there's 4 facets that you really want to pay attention to here: stability, security, performance, and manageability. Okay. Let's start with stability. One thing that I've noticed with a lot of my larger customers is when dealing with HP's level of innovation, there tend to be concerns about, hey, listen, this is amazing, the bells and whistles are awesome, but what happens if, all this testing or all these new innovations, they don't work in the first 12 months? This is where Intel has you covered. What they do is they actually work with manufacturers. So it's not only HP centric. You'll find this with all other manufacturers. They work directly with manufacturers to test thoroughly a specific set of SKUs. So you won't find this on the entire, the entire model set. It's going to be on certain configurations where they rigorously test the components, the drivers, things like the processor, graphics, chipsets, networking, to ensure that within 12 months of these hitting the market, you have the opportunity to ensure that they're reliable and fully tested. The reason I say that it's some of our larger customers is because they tend to have mandates around these things. We have to have reboot machines for these specific uses, but that's just one of the options. The other is security. Security is a huge one. With vPro, you have the opportunity to have a few feature sets. One you might be familiar with, one not so much. So the first would be Intel Hardware Shield. What this essentially is, it gives the ability for the device to be locked down or memory to be locked down at the BIOS level, preventing any kind of malware threats. And then the second to this, which you might know very well, is Intel Active Management. What this does is gives your team essentially the ability to be able to remote in and remediate any kind of threats in a number of different scenarios, which I'll get into in a little bit. But let's talk about performance. Performance is a huge one. You wouldn't think so, but there's actually a huge increase if you choose a vPro chipset. What you tend to see is a huge increase in experience and a faster experience, about 41% around office productivities. So typically Office, Excel is a huge one, huge one. And a number of the video conference collaboration features as well. And one that you might not know is they're great. It helps with battery life as well. So with the vPro platform, you can expect to see huge savings in battery life. So if you have any kind of end users that are floating between sites, having to visit here or there, they have that ability to be able to save a bit on performance, especially seeing as Intel has introduced their Evo line as well, with larger long life battery performance and huge efficiencies. You'll be able to see some of that there. And then finally, manageability. Manageability is a huge one. Having the ability to remote in, as I mentioned, from a number of different scenarios, either having the device being fully power down, still being able to remote into the device regardless. So what you can see is you have the ability to remote KVM. I think you all know KVM, keyboard, video, mouse, having that ability to have power control, and then hardware alarm clock, being able to power up the device when it's powered down. I think I've actually seen this on my own. I kind of freaked out a bit thinking I might have been hacked, but then I remembered I had an HP, so I didn't have too much to worry about. But having that ability to wake the PC up and do any kind of repairs, remote repairs, you have that ability to do that there. But that's essentially what you're looking at on the vPro platform. But that's pretty much it for me. If you have any questions at all, I would say either reach out to myself, that would be byron.knight@cdw.ca. I'm definitely a hotline there, or reach out to HPI Canada at cdw.ca. We actually have 4 people manning that inbox for any kind of questions. But when in doubt, you always have your account manager to talk to as well. We work directly with them, and pretty much a lot of the aha moments and information that you get from them comes directly from me anyway. So feel free. Happy to help. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you, Byron. Awesome job, everybody, so far. Again, thank you, everybody, for allowing us to take time out of your day to listen to us here at CDW, HP, Microsoft, and Lenovo talk about Autopilot. I'm Nick Defina. I am your solution specialist for Lenovo here at CDW, and we're going to talk a little bit about Autopilot. We're going to talk about key benefits, features, some product lineups, and we're also going to talk about our ready-to-provision services that goes hand in hand with Autopilot as well. So, just going to share my presentation here. All right. So what Autopilot is and what it's not. So it's not a replacement for your computer imaging software. A lot of people kind of get confused with that. And Autopilot will not lay down your perfectly configured corporate image on a new device. What Autopilot is a device management program like Apple's device enrollment program. At the same time, there are, of course, some important prerequisites you need to have in place if you're ever going to consider using Autopilot. So, Autopilot is a pre-configuration solution to customize the Windows images from the cloud. It allows yourself and your customers to deploy and configure devices over the internet. No interaction needed from the IT aspect. It builds on existing modern management technologies such as Azure Active Directory and mobile device management tools, and allows you to manage and configure devices by automatically enrolling them into these solutions at the first boot up right out of the box. Key benefits is no more maintenance on images and drivers, no need for IT to touch the device, simple processes for users and IT, integration within the supply chain. We can reset the device back to business ready state. Out of the box, it's ready to go. Users unbox their Lenovo device and turn it on. Windows Autopilot configures it right from the cloud. Few simple clicks, and the device becomes business ready. At the same time, we can track the entire process with Windows Autopilot. You can see how the configuration is actually progressing at the same time. It enables provisioning minus the hassle, better user experience with personalization, and fewer steps to set up. It allows self-paced transition to the cloud. Windows Autopilot can join devices on Azure and enroll them into that mobile device management tool. So how does Autopilot work with Lenovo? And I want to talk about this device as a service solution that we do have, where it's modular, scalable, and into life, where we actually encompass not only Lenovo services, but we can incorporate any other services that you have and work with other vendors to ensure that you have the best solution possible for your fleet of devices. So, for example, Lenovo sales, how Autopilot works with Lenovo. Lenovo sales configure machines with the Autopilot registration embedded. Lenovo registers the organization's purchase systems to Microsoft Autopilot program through the OEM API. Through Azure Active Directory, the IT department creates and manages the Autopilot profile, customizes the user's setup experience and configurations. Lenovo then ships out the pre-configured device directly to the end users. When the end users first turn it on, they'll connect to the internet, All the configuration, branding, software, and all compliancy are pushed right down to the device based on that policy. And just in a few clicks, your device is ready to go. So Autopilot is pretty much ideal for people who want to treat a PC like a smartphone for deployment. Security and management are all built in, focusing on managed user identity instead of the actual device itself, delivering that operating system as a hardware component from the hardware supplier. So Lenovo has these modern IT kits, which I'm talking about here right now. And in one facet, wide variety of services are available to help organizations plan, manage, and support their Lenovo PC fleets. From Windows 10 transition to the user endpoint management, Lenovo has these solutions. So, for example, in number one, our planning, we have strategy, assessment, and personal consultation that we actually have people on board ready to help you and assist you what makes the most sense for your fleet and how we're going to plan out this stage that we're rolling out the devices in. Then we talk about our configuration services, talk about customizing the hardware, software setups, BIOS settings, imaging, and device registration. Then we talk about deployment solutions where Microsoft Autopilot comes into play. We talk about, devices that get their employees productive with Lenovo. Then we talk about how they're going to support and manage your devices. Again, relieving IT teams and keeping the devices operational at peak performance. And then we talk about how we're going to manage the devices, and then that comes through on-site, help desk, security, compliance, monitoring, management, and inventory control. And then we talk about how to retire devices where we take kind of all of that for you. And then we talk about maximizing residual value, ensuring your data and security are all fully environmental compliant. And again, what's great about this system, it's fully modular. You don't have to choose everything that's on the slide. You're able to pick and choose. And again, if we have to integrate other vendors into play, we have that ability to make it fully customizable and configurable to make your solution work for you. And I've done many solutions in the past where we've included multiple different vendors into this one platform, and we kind of roll it out for you and what makes sense for you and what makes the best overall solution package. Now I want to talk about how we make Autopilot with Lenovo easy, and we talk about our Ready to Provision series. What it is we manage the deployment of the device fleets for a fraction of the manual imaging costs and efforts. So we have a modern IP approach where it's a clean version of the operating system loaded with the customization features for organizations to provide the right tools for the business. Our series, we have three different ones. We have Ready to Provision Release Control, and Ready to Provision Plus. So we'll talk a little bit more about them and how each of them work. RTP, or Ready to Provision, is a standard preload that only has the operating system and the drivers necessary for the system to operate. It's considered a clean preload and is available part of our Lenovo DIY kit. It enables users Ready to Provision preload, and we can provide a 90% reduction in the imaging costs and up to 75% faster turnaround time and end user productivity. And the reason why we use our Ready to Provision is to make the Autopilot extremely seamless and an integration within all of our Lenovo fleet. So what Ready to Provision permits IT teams to manage deployment, manage the fleets of the device with less effort while maintaining control, embrace the modern IT principles for a fraction of the manual imaging cost and effort, avoiding the expense of unwanted software and applications. We develop a hybrid IT approach in the organization that wants to use some components from the modern IT without the full transition to modern IT. The other aspect is we deploy a clean load with enough customization to provide the right tools for the business. We eliminate the need to develop and manage custom images at that point too. Again, removing that bloatware essentially at the same time. Service the organization regardless of geography with automated remote deployment and management. Again, key features, we preload the OS, drivers, no third-party software. It's all recovered digital download, restored by a standard OS preload. We update it twice per year while the machines are being sold. And that's one of the big key things about it. Then we'll talk about our Release Plus, where you get the stability, functionality, user experience, the standard load without the content. At the same time, It's a RTP is a platform for provisioning solutions, including Autopilot, and enabling a consistent experience for all users. It's, again, as I mentioned, it's a clean version of Windows 10 current branch. Based on the feedback from our customers, we preload a custom image designated to leverage Autopilot and enable modern deployment. We reduce the inbox applications, almost up to 25 removed right out of the box. No third-party software, INF drivers only for more efficiency. And we'll talk about our release control. So again, it's built from the ground up. It offers applications that are preloaded into Global's device provisioning services, gives customers the option to send up to 5 scripted applications to be loaded onto manufacturing process. And again, it's built off, again, always off a clean preload. Ready Provision Plus is available part of the Ready to Deploy and instant productivity kits. Again, as I mentioned, apps are available on preload, OS, drivers, 5 customer supplied scripts as well. What are, I guess, there's not many requirements when it comes to this. When it comes to RTP, again, just a Windows branch and literally 5 scripts that you're looking to have installed. Again, scripts cannot take no longer than 60 minutes to execute in total, which is great. And cloud recovery is also available on RTP+. Now I want to get into our feature lineups that support Autopilot. We have our X13 Yoga, which is a 2-in-1 device. Comes with a stylus garaged into the actual unit. It's a 1080p screen. They do come in variations, and we can go up to a quad 4 screen as well. And again, everything that I presented, we do have stock and we do have availability right from the get-go. So again, please interact with your account managers, and I'll be more than happy to provide the best solution possible. We talked about our E14, which is your entry-level budget-friendly laptop that also supports Autopilot. We have our X1 Fold, which is an industry first, a foldable laptop in a 12-inch screen, and it comes with a magnetic keyboard that goes right onto the actual device itself. Then we talk about our X1 Titanium, which was released earlier this year. Flagship in comparison to the X1 Carbon. It's a very sleeker titanium build and very light and thin. And then we have our flagship, which is our T14 series, which is our ThinkPad. A lot of people love and deploy them. They're very rugged, durable, reliable. And then I want to talk about our desktop lineup. I want to talk about at least one from each category. So we have our Tinies, which again, our M90Q, which is one of our flagship Tinies that we have, get up to graphical power of up to P1000s. We have our small form factors, which is our M80S lineup. Again, configurable with DP, HDMI, and can be with VGA as well, depending on the need. And then we also have edge computing as well. So if you need those nano IoT devices, we do have those, and we do have fanless PCs as well that can be really customized into your environment. That if it's manufacturing, healthcare. If you ever go into healthcare, you have that MRI machines. It's a Lenovo Compute in that machine that powers it. And then we have the most powerful workstation on the market from an AMD perspective. That is the P620 Threadripper. Again, we can come equipped with up to RTX 5000s right now. Again, it's the fastest 64-core beast on the market. And, a great result of that is, a lot of gaming developers, a lot of high-tech architectural firms, developers are just have this unit in their fleet, and it's just a workhorse and can literally be running as often as you need. And then we have our tiny-in-one solution, where a lot of people are looking for that all-in-one solution right now, which is extremely hard to find. So we do have this unit here where it's a tiny-in-one monitor, where our tiny-in-one, for example, M90Q, slips into the back of the monitor as a kangaroo pouch. So it actually just slips right into the back of the monitor. So when it comes to support, let's say if something were to break down, you don't have to ship the whole computer out. Either you can ship out the monitor or the actual Tiny itself, while keeping the other pieces intact. We do have devices with Windows 11 ready to deploy and in our fleet right now. For example, we do have the X1 Nano in our fleet, Windows Ready 11 ready to ship. And then I want to talk about our really cool thing that we like to pair with our P15s, which is our Think Reality. And when it comes to Think Reality, it provides a platform that's scalable, streamlined from path to proof concept, productivity for enterprises that want to engage with AR, VR, and XR applications. It's the only complete solution that lets you focus on problem solving while working across diverse hardware and software. You can actually deploy up to 5 1080p screens at one given time, which is pretty substantial and crazy. It's built to deploy, manage applications from content to a global scale with global support. Again, I think Reality kind of equips you with the most powerful development and management tools. Again, we provide software development kits, cloud and devices, MDM support as well. You get ready to use turnkey certified solutions for vital AR applications like remote assistance, guided workflow, and training. And we also provide that remote data visualization and design for collaboration as well. It actually integrates with Teams, which is really great to know as well. We also have our Think Reality Industrial Edition, which is a hardware bundle that tethers to select Motorola mobile phones and enables industrial augmented reality solutions that work with our platform. Again, works with a G100 phone, industrial frames, Lenovo Think software license, and integrated support solutions. So it works really great in manufacturing plants, healthcare. If you want to do operations, this is where it kind of gives you that tool. So for example, on one screen you can have instructions, another screen you can have videos, another screen you can literally develop that program as you're working in. And again, I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk with everybody. Please, if you do have any questions, don't feel hesitant to reach out. You can reach me out at nick.defina@cdw.ca, or please engage me with your account reps as well. And I'd be more than happy to jump on a call and find out that right solution for the business needs. And again, thank you for all your time today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for all our presenters today, and I really appreciate everyone for coming. And also thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the informative webinar. And if you have any additional questions about our webinar, please reach out to your CDW account managers, or even with our team that just presented today. And I have already typed in their email address in the Q&A box there. Please feel free to reach out our team. And we will do a draw for 5 $100 gift cards, and our team will reach out to those 5 lucky winners. And also we will also contacting those that are eligible for the Windows Autopilot white glove. Ricky will be reaching out to you. And again, thank you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.